Hello, my friends. I'm here to tell you that artificial intelligence is not the future of instructional design. And that's because it's already here. So if you don't build these AI skills, you might be getting left behind. I don't want that to happen. So yeah, we're going to take a look at the 5 essential AI skills you need to create better projects, work faster, and future-proof your career. So we'll dive into the skills first. I also have a lot of other resources, tools, examples to show you. So this should be a valuable video for you, even if you're already familiar with some of these skills. So the first one is writing effective prompts, also commonly referred to as prompt engineering. The second one is mastering the tools. The third one is teaching people about artificial intelligence or communicating about artificial intelligence more generally. The fourth one is reading and writing JavaScript. And the fifth skill is creating AI-powered automations. So if you get a solid handle on all of these skills, you are going to be in demand on instructional design teams for a while to come, I would say. So let's take a look at the first one, prompt engineering. So essentially, if you write good prompts, you'll get great results. And if you write bad prompts, you're going to waste a lot of time. If you are brand new to this stuff, prompting is essentially just writing the text that you submit to the AI tool that you're working with. So we're about to take a look at some examples, but the way that you ask for what you want will have a big impact on the results that you get. I'll also mention that prompting best practices depend on the tool you use. So if you use a tool like ChatGPT, the prompts are going to be quite different than if you were generating images with a tool like a Midjourney or something like that. So I'll share some more examples in a bit, but generally know that, it depends on the tool you're using, what makes a good prompt. So yeah, before we dive into the examples, let's take a look at the general prompting format I would recommend. So this is for large language models. I'll also say if you're unfamiliar with some of these terms or you don't know what LLMs are, go ahead and watch our Intro to AI video. So I posted it a couple of weeks ago. That one's a must watch if you're going to start diving deeper into AI, I'd say. So here's the type of prompt I use sometimes when working with ChatGPT or Claude or any of these other LLMs. First, I'll tell the AI what its role is. Then I'll tell it what its task is. And then I'll share some relevant information or context. And I'll show you how I do this. And then from there, you can even provide examples. So you could do a one-shot example. You could do a multi-shot example. Again, we talk about that in the Intro to AI video. But let's just see the difference in output we get when we just write a general request or a task, write an outline for a 5-minute e-learning course about artificial intelligence for instructional designers. So here's the outline. It gives us an introduction. What is AI, right? It gives us some general applications like, interactive experiences, personalized learning. It goes into some ethical considerations and then a little recap. So not terrible. Again, you could pause it if you want to see what it's recommending, but this is the prompt we use, and this is for ChatGPT 4.0. Now, if we build that prompt out a little bit and we give it a role, task, and context, things look a little bit different. So notice for the role, I said, you are a world-class instructional designer who is also an expert in artificial intelligence, because we can make the role whatever we want, right? Like the AI is smart enough to, try to accommodate whatever we tell it that its role and job is. So then for the task, I just gave it that same task I pulled, I used over here, and then I gave it some context. And I said the instructional designers may have heard of artificial intelligence before, but they don't know how to use it to save them time on the job. Practical application is essential. So yeah, of course, we want to keep things practical over here. We're not building skills just to build them. We're using them to see actual results. So I gave the AI that context. It took me about, an extra 30 to 60 seconds to write this prompt, but the output is way better in my opinion. So it's organized more nicely. First of all, it tells us what our learning objectives are going to be. And I feel like these are pretty good. Identify 3 key AI tools or applications, apply at least one AI-powered workflow to save time, and recognize how AI can enhance creativity. So those are some pretty solid objectives, to be honest. That's that world-class instructional designer doing their work, because over here, do we even have that? Provide a foundational understanding of AI applications. That's way weaker than these learning objectives we have over here. And then when we get into the outline, it seems a lot better as well. So gives us a way to capture attention. It gives us an interactive element. It suggests a poll. We definitely didn't get that over here. There was no poll suggestion. And then, yeah, we get into some key applications, very specific content creation tools. And here's an example you can use: media generation tools. It mentions some of them, gives examples. So that's really cool. And then it gives us a whole practical workflow activity to show how Jane, the instructional designer, integrates AI into her project. So again, what we're comparing here is the difference in this prompt, a little bit bigger than this initial task one that we use, but the output differs pretty drastically, I would say. So, and then if you're wondering about this format, it's just like markup. So this is just for like a H2 HTML element. That's confusing. I just use 2 number signs and, put whatever the heading I want is for that paragraph. So play around with this a little bit. It can say whatever you want. It doesn't have to be role task context. Sometimes I do like guidelines or instructions. I'll show you an example of that in a little bit as well. But let's get into some prompting tips. So after writing your prompt, you can actually ask the AI if it has any questions or needs any clarification before it gets started. And Sabrina talked to me about how she does this. And yeah, it's a way for you to make your prompt more robust. So you try to give it all the information in your prompt, and then you say, hey, do you have any questions? Do you need anything from me before continuing? And then it will let you know whatever its gaps in its knowledge are that it would like to have to give a better response. And then you can actually add that to your initial prompt and like maintain that prompt, so to speak. Again, we'll dive deeper into that. And then also I would just suggest reading prompting guides for your tools. So for using ChatGPT, you could look up ChatGPT prompting guide. I think that's what we have right here. So if you're using Midjourney, do the same thing for Midjourney. But do that research because, yeah, you want to make sure you're following best practices and getting the best possible output you can, because that's going to make the difference between whether you can use it in production or not. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've actually seen some like social media posts where it's like, oh, look at this like terrible like AI artwork that like some big corporation is using. And it's like really obviously AI. People who are really good with prompt engineering make it really hard to tell whether or not it's generated from AI. So you want that power. And here is an example of what I was saying to like build out the prompt. It was the same one I used in the previous example, but I asked it, do you have any questions for me or do you need any clarification before you begin? And then it tells me, yeah, I'd like to know the target audience specificity. Yeah, what tone and style should I use? What level of interactivity are you looking for? Are we suggesting specific software? So that's all stuff I could add to that initial prompt, especially if this is a prompt that I'd be wanting to reuse, over and over. It would be nice for it to have all of this information. Iterating on your prompts is also a good prompt engineering practice, right? You don't want to have a whole chat with an AI and you give it all this valuable information, and then when it's time to do a new project or something, you just start a new chat from scratch. If you can manage and iterate on your prompts, it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. So there are also tools to help out with this. So I'll just mention a couple. This one is called Prompt Hub, Level Up Your Prompt Management. And it is especially good if you're working with a team that all wants to contribute to the prompts. So you get to try out your prompts on different AI models and see how they work. You get to basically run them like hundreds or thousands of times and see which models perform better. And then, of course, you could see which prompt performs better too. So pretty cool. Check this one out. Prometheus is another one. They're calling it like a prompt engineering development environment. So yeah, you get to compare your different prompts, test them, optimize them, collaborate. So pretty cool. A bunch of tools like this are popping up. They're a little bit expensive, but if you're doing something like this for your team, definitely a good tool to have. Okay. I think I wanted to show you, I wanted to show you a prompt I've been iterating upon. So this is the become an instructional designer, like custom GPT that we built. I created a video about this last week. It's essentially to help people, become an instructional designer. It's kind of trained on our process. And here's how I built it. So I've been getting a lot of questions about this. And this is a prompt that I'm personally iterating on and trying to make better as we get feedback on this custom AI bot. So I tell it, you're an experienced instructional design coach who specializes in helping people become instructional designers, and you represent the Devlin Peck brand. And then we give it these instructions. Ask questions to assess where the user's at, assess their current knowledge and skill. And I'll dive into this deeper at a future point, but you can see we also tell it our approach. So this is what I meant earlier. It doesn't have to just be context. Like if we mention my approach somewhere, well, now the AI bot knows where to learn more about our approach. And then our guidelines too, this is what I'm like adding to as we're finding, as we're finding stuff that the bot could be doing better. So yeah, I'll do a video about this. I think that's a great like portfolio project too, creating a custom GPT like this. So yeah, let me know if you're interested in that type of thing. But let's move on to the next skill here. So mastering the tools in general. So if you're good at prompting, you're going to be able to use that skill across multiple tools, but you really want to build out your own personal AI toolkit. You want to know which tools you have available to you and how you're actually using them to save time and make an impact on the job. So first of all, learn which tools excel at which tasks, right? Like hopefully you know about ChatGPT by now, but there's probably, I'll tell you my top 3. I actually have a slide for that next, but you should probably, know everything that AI is capable of right now. So watch that intro to AI video if you don't know about all the tools out there. Also discover which tools your organization actually has access to, because some orgs are building out internal AI tools that only their employees can use, and some don't let you use unapproved tools. So definitely be sensitive to that. Don't be putting sensitive customer data or company confidential information into unapproved tools like ChatGPT or any others. So yeah, make sure if you're using company data, you know what your company's stance is on AI. And I'm actually quite curious about that too. So if you can drop a comment, let me know where your company is at with it. Are they building internal tools? Are they approving certain external tools? Or are they just saying don't use this? Because I've been hearing answers across the board, but it would be nice to do a little informal poll. And then overall, I'd say just get the practice in with these tools. Like that's the only way to get better with them and figure out how to create higher quality output. But it really does pay off. Like especially if you're doing client work, we've had clients give really good feedback to some of these AI generated assets because the project feels so much more custom on such a quicker timeline. So you can get, as one person, you're able to get a lot higher production value than you would otherwise. If you're relying on a big team, but it does require you to have some know-how, right? You're not going to get replaced by AI, but you need to know how to use AI. So here are my top 3 tools also. First of all, ChatGPT. I think the reason for this is like the custom GPTs, being able to create them for yourself or your team or your audience. And it just seems to be getting the most like UX investment right now. It's like a general LLM that's good at pretty much everything. So that should definitely be in your toolkit, and paying the $19 a month to create the custom GPTs and stuff might be worth it for you, or to get the more usage out of it. Free Pick Picasso I'm really liking as one of my top 3 tools because it does have so much built into it and it is really easy to use. So yeah, check out their AI image generator. It's again way easier than like going on Discord and using Midjourney. So check it out. Their AI video generator, not really professional quality right now, but I'm sure they're working on it. And they have all sorts of stuff here: icon generators, characters, the music. I listened to a few of those. The voices are actually really good. So I like tools like this because as long as they're all pretty good and it's all in one place, so you don't need to have like 5 different subscriptions. So Free Pick Picasso for sure, and then Notebook LM. It's just so excellent at what it does. Again, I talked about that one in the intro video, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but yeah, you get to upload PDFs, right? It can be whatever data you need to work with. It can give you a nice summaries, and then you can ask it questions and it will give you near instant responses with the source highlighted. So yeah, that's really valuable if you're working with like technical documents or just big, a lot of content in general, and you need to be able to reference it, kind of like building out your own personal SME, so to speak, or subject matter expert. So that's a great one. So these would be my top 3. So if you don't know where to start here. If you want to go further, watch the intro to AI video. I talk about a lot of them there. Okay, communicating about AI or teaching people about AI. I think this is an essential skill just because this is still a new technology. Not everyone's on the same page about it. And you might need, if you're going to be using these tools and trying to implement this stuff in projects, you're going to need to be able to talk to stakeholders about this. So before I get ahead of myself, the first part of this is building up your AI knowledge, right? Like you need to know the AI terms, you need to know the capabilities, the constraints, the ethical concerns. So yeah, can't underestimate. Watch that intro if you haven't already, but if you have watched it, you're on a pretty good path, I would say. If you know all these terms I'm saying, you're doing pretty good. But yeah, keep up to date on the AI knowledge, because you're going to need to educate, clients, subject matter experts, managers, learners, right? They might have questions about how you built what you built, or what technology is making it possible. And then, you might need to get buy-in from business stakeholders at your organization if you want to use a specific tool. So getting comfortable talking about this stuff is going to help. Oh, I already closed my bot. If you go back to where I showed off my bot, I actually asked them, like, can you role play as like an internal corporate client, and I want to use generative AI on a project, and like you ask me questions about it and we have to answer them. So you can use that custom GPT I built to practice stuff like this, and watch last week's video if you haven't already about using AI to become an ID. But yeah, the more comfortable you are communicating about AI and teaching people about AI, the better suited you're going to be for those conversations. And then demonstrating your AI knowledge and skills on your portfolio. I think this is good, especially if you're like thinking about your career, like showing hiring managers and potential clients that you're using this technology to actually save you time and make better learning experiences. I think that is going to look really good, especially in the near term or the next few years, when most instructional designers probably are not actually going to dive into these skills. If you're watching this, you're already ahead of the curve because you're researching this stuff and staying up to date on it. But there are a lot of IDs who are probably chugging away, and they're not going on LinkedIn or watching YouTube videos or Googling how they're going to build their skills. They're probably doing their job and focusing on their immediate needs. So some of this stuff might sneak up on them. So if in this early wave, as these skills are becoming more valuable and we're seeing, okay, these are here to stay, like companies are using them, showing that off on your portfolio is going to go pretty far, and just helping educate the industry on what you're doing. If you're working on cool projects and stuff like that, highlighting that in your portfolio is going to help bring the whole industry up with you. Okay, staying up to date with AI developments. We've been doing a lot of AI content lately. So we did an AI upskilling live event with Luke Hobson. So he shared some good people to follow in there. I'll try to grab that, but check out that whole webinar if you want to learn about how to stay up to date with this stuff. And then finally, join communities with AI enthusiasts so that you can talk to other instructional designers about AI and learn how we're using AI, and looking at projects that we're using AI in. So we're doing a lot of good AI work over in my instructional design community, which you are more than welcome to join. It's completely free, and you can go to devlinpeck.com/ID to join that. All right, so now we're getting into some scripting or coding skills. So this is the fourth skill, just JavaScript. Learn to write some code. So when you're good with JavaScript, you can integrate AI into learning experiences. So like for example, a lot of us do development and articulate Storyline 360 or Rise 360. You can incorporate like ChatGPT-like functionality into learning experiences like that, but it does require some JavaScript know-how. So check out the AI Haunted House live event that we did on Halloween if you want to see an example of this in practice and learn how I did it. But overall, once you learn the basic syntax of JavaScript, you can learn to work with APIs. You can learn how to parse the data that you get back from those APIs. You can learn how to work with servers. It might sound a little complex if you're new to this stuff, and it is a little complex, but everything is easier now with AI to help us. So I'll share some resources on the next slide. But also JavaScript makes it possible to fine tune the models that you're working with if you want more refined outputs. So like just this morning, we were on a bootcamp, like AI workshop, and we were talking about fine tuning because someone wants to do a project where, like she wants to be able to generate really custom wedding cakes based on like what the user is looking for. And she's finding that the models that are out there aren't able to be as specific as she wants to because she's like a professional cake decorator. So we're talking about her fine tuning a model on a bunch of high quality data that she's going to describe and then use that to generate better, more custom cake images. So really cool work you can do with fine tuning. I think that's a really valuable skill if you all are technical or like interested enough in doing that. I'm personally really interested in it. So once I find once enough of you all are interested, I'm going to definitely dive into some content around that. Here are some resources for JavaScript. When I learned back in like 2017 or so, I used Free Code Camp, and then I later found out about Scrimba, which was really helpful. I love both of those resources. There's some really great YouTube channels to learn JavaScript skills. AI tools, like I said, this makes coding so much easier. They can do most of the work for you at this point if you just treat them like a coworker who does know code and like talk to them about what you're trying to do and show them the code that you have. It goes really far. Those latter two tools, GitHub, Copilot, and Cursor, those are both will like write the code along with you and like serve as like autocorrect for your code essentially. So those are pretty cool. And then I floated this idea before and it seemed to get decent interest at that AI Haunted House live event. But yeah, if y'all want, I can make a JavaScript playlist. I question sometimes why I should do that when like there's so much JavaScript content out there. But yeah, maybe it would be helpful to do like an ID specific JavaScript playlist just so I can help contextualize things better and make it more relevant to the work that we do as IDs. So please leave a comment if you want JavaScript tutorials. Maybe if this video gets like, let's say like 250 likes within a month, that's the next thing I'll do is a JavaScript playlist. So if y'all wanted that bad, like the video, I'll count that as a vote for JavaScript playlist. Okay, moving into automation, the fifth skill. This is really powerful stuff here. This is personally also what I want to really get involved with for my own business, building AI automations to make repetitive tasks easier. So automations are already helpful. Like, you know, whenever someone signs up to this forum, like put them, like send them this email and like add them to the community, for example. But now you can incorporate AI into that. So you can use the power of ChatGPT essentially to make decisions about what to do next in the workflow, or to draft emails or draft responses to people. You have the full power of a large language model behind your automations. So for example, you could upload like some instructional content or some source material, and then you could have an automation set up where AI generates a script from that content, generates narration audio files, generates subtitle files that can go along with it, and uploads all of that to a drive. They can generate a development guide or like a storyboard essentially that suggests which visuals to show with the narration as it plays, and then it can send you an email to say that its task is complete. So obviously there would be more steps in here. You would probably want to add in checks where you can actually review things before it continues, but you can use a tool like, I said tools like Zapier and NAN. Here's NAN. So this is my top tool I'm keeping an eye on for building out this stuff. And this is what it looks like. So it's like a visual workflow like this. And yeah, you can bring in the full power of AI into this stuff. And it's self-hostable too. So if companies want to be able to have all of their data like in-house, they can host this on their own servers instead of relying on like the cloud essentially. So really cool. Definitely check out this tool if you're interested in the automation stuff. But yeah, these are the 5 skills. I'd say the next steps from here are definitely watch the intro to AI vid if you haven't already, then maybe rewatch this one so things make more sense. And if you're up for a challenge, pick one of these AI skills and start practicing. I have a video going live next week about like how I'd build my portfolio from scratch. And obviously AI is going to be a big part of that. And we're going to get into some AI projects. So if y'all want some homework, comment on that next video with whatever AI skill you've been working on and how it goes. Because the sooner we start practicing with this stuff, the better. And subscribe if you like this. Subscribe if you want more AI content. Like I said, next week, we're going to dive into AI portfolio and project content, and I'm really excited about that one. So thanks for making it to the end, and I will see you next week.